Hi, I'm Angry.
And I'm Itchy.
And we're
Two Kids on a Couch. Hey there. Today we're going to talk about the revival musicals up for this year's Tony Awards. Les Mis,
Cabaret,
Violet,
and Hedwig and the Angry Itch.
Inch.
Itch.
I'm sorry, it's Inch. I feel bad I didn't say this.
It's Itch. Oh my gosh! Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
All four of these are really interesting shows and we can't wait to talk about all of them.
No, we can't. In fact, let's get started. Our first show up on the bracket is Cabaret, starring Alan Cumming and Michelle Williams.
And Danny Burstein.
Danny Burst, as in like the Burstein Bears. Burstein Bears!
Now, the biggest piece of news about this show is that it was not nominated for Best Revival.
Which is a shame, because it's really doing quite well.
I think one of the reasons people are liking Cabaret...
Alan Cumming.
I don't know how much you know about Alan Cumming, but the man is incredible.
He's so incredible.
Actually, Alan Cumming has been in Cabaret before. In 1996, there was a revival that starred him as the MC, and he actually won a Tony Award for this performance.
Because it was fantastic.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the new Cabaret revival. I feel like it doesn't need to be revived. People know what it is.
Itchy, would you like to tell us about the nominations for Cabaret?
I would love to, Angry. Cabaret garnered 2 nominations. Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical for Danny Burstein, playing the role of Herr Schultz.
Herr Schultz!
And Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in the Musical for Linda Eder, playing the role of Fräulein Schneider.
Fräulein Schneider!
So personally, I don't really think it's going to win either of its nominations.
I don't believe so, because those categories are highly competitive this year.
All the acting categories
Top
are really
notch.
tough this year.
Our next revival is Les Miserables.
Do you hear the people pronounce that name incorrectly?
Now, Les Miserables has claimed 3 Tony nominations this year, including Best Revival of a Musical,
Best Sound Design of a Musical,
and also Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical. Did I say it right? I said it right! Of Ramin Karimloo, or Jean Valjean.
You are so French.
I failed my French class,
French,
by the way.
right here.
Now, while we're always happy to see Mr. Karimloo take the stage, this revival has been something of a disappointment to the Broadway community.
Personally, like with Cabaret, I feel like this revival was not needed. Nothing against Cameron McIntosh. It definitely looks to me like a ploy to get money.
And to be perfectly honest, that this isn't the first time an unnecessary revival of Les Mis has hit the Broadway stages. In 2006, it was revived again, with similar difficulties, being no one really cared.
And I think one of the reasons is everybody and their high school does Les Mis nowadays.
Everybody, including Hollywood.
Tours everywhere.
2 different concerts.
People sing the solo songs on Britain's Got Talent.
And every single audition.
So, there's nothing new. Until they do something so radical to make it like nothing anybody's seen before, I'm not going to get excited about a revival of Les Mis on Broadway.
Frankly, it was even a little bit difficult to get excited for such things like the movie. While, it was interesting that they were doing a different take on it, it was still kind of the same take on it. Mr. Karimloo, who, while very talented, we just aren't sure if he's going to be able to pull ahead of the incredibly talented actors in the Best Leading Actor in a Musical category this year.
I also don't think it's going to win Best Revival. I don't think the Tony nominators will respect it because it's not art anymore. It's money.
Sound design. Go Mike Dobbs.
Who knows, to be honest.
Those guys, it's kind of up in the air.
For
It's like
sound design, they just pick a name out of a hat.
I'm on the edge of my seat. It's kind of a pressurized thrill of a rush of excitement.
I don't care at all, like most of America.
Including myself. I'm just trying to put on a show for our viewer.
Thank you.
Next musical?
Now, the next musical we're going to talk about is Violet. Violet started as an off-Broadway show. Encores did a concert version of it a few months ago. It was so successful, in fact, that they decided to condense it down into a 1-act and put it on Broadway, starring much of that same cast. Sutton Foster, who's been made famous by roles such as Millie Delmount and Reno Sweeney.
You also may remember Colin Donnell, who starred opposite Sutton Foster in her Tony Award-winning revival a few years ago, Anything Goes.
We have Joshua Henry, who I personally know from his run in the Scottsboro Boys a few years back. Personally, I don't know all that much about Violet, because it was originally a flop when it came out the first time.
It was. It didn't do very well at all.
I heard nothing but good things about it. From what I've heard, the staging is very bare, and
raw.
a lot is left to the imagination.
Such as, the plot revolves around the main character of Violet, played by Sutton Foster, having a horribly disfiguring scar on her face. Now, the creative team took a very bold move and decided to not apply any kind of makeup or prosthetic to Sutton Foster. Instead, the scar, vivid and horrifying, is left to the audience's imagination, and we only see it from the reactions of the fellow cast members.
I could have the Violet scar right now, and you wouldn't know.
Ah, it's hideous!
Now, Violet has been nominated in 4 different categories this year, including Best Revival of a Musical,
Also, Best Direction of a Musical, Lee Silverman claiming that nomination.
Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical, Joshua Henry,
And of course, we can't forget the legendary Sutton Foster, nominated for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. Now, I think it's highly likely that Sutton Foster is going to claim the Tony this year. Now, Sutton Foster has been famous for many roles in very high energy and very kind of frivolous musicals, which she does amazing in, but many have said that this role has completely transformed her and redefined her as an actor, showing a much more raw and a much more personal side of her.
I also think it has a really good shot at Best Revival of a Musical.
I think it does too. We don't know much about direction. While we're sure Lee Silverman is an incredibly talented director doing Violet.
This might be a tough one.
Sorry, Miss Silverman.
While I really am excited to see more of Joshua Henry's performance, I do think he'll have a tough time winning Best Featured Actor.
Like all of the categories this year, it is competitive.
So-
I feel like we're doing like a NASCAR thing. Well, James, now did you see that car go? He's
It
got
was
a
going
crack.
fast.
So, and then he turned, and it was like, hello.
The final revival to open this season is Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Starring Neil Patrick Harris. When it opened about 10 or 15 years ago, the show was very, very radically different from anything seen on Broadway before. Because it faced such drastic new issues, a lot of people were really kind of shocked and appalled, and so it didn't do great for its first run. And then it kind of developed a cult following, which led to its massive success now on Broadway. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that, yes, it is a cult classic.
I could take it or leave it myself.
Yeah.
The music doesn't really do much for me, to be honest.
The character of Hedwig is portrayed as a failed musician, and so that's a lot of what they were aiming for in the music and kind of it being subpar.
In my opinion, the best part about this show, Neil Patrick Harris.
Absolutely.
We are thrilled to see him back on Broadway.
Oh my gosh.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch was nominated for 8 Tony Awards this year, including Best Revival of a Musical.
Julian Couch was nominated for Best Scenic Design of a Musical.
Neil Patrick Harris's portrayal of Hedwig earned him a nomination for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical.
Ariane Phillips earned her spot in the Tony Awards for Best Costume Design. Go Ariane.
Lena Hall was nominated for Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical. Kevin Adams' lighting design was nominated for Best Lighting Design of a Musical.
Michael Meyer was nominated for Best Direction of a Musical.
And finally, Tim O'Hare's amazing sound design was
Tim O'Hare!
was nominated for Best Sound Design of a Musical.
Something I would like to mention, this show was nominated for costume design, which actually, from what I've heard, has been pretty incredible. Hedwig begins the show in, I believe, 3 wigs, 2 dresses, and 2 pairs of tights. And as the show progresses, she takes off her layers, finally finishing in a very bare costume to kind of show her progression and finally just her vulnerability.
Angry, I'm going to rapid fire the nominations out to you. You tell me yes or no if it wins.
Okay.
Best Revival of a Musical.
Yeah.
Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical.
No.
Best Costume Design of a Musical.
Yes.
Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical.
Yes.
Best Direction of a Musical.
Yeah.
Best Scenic Design of a Musical.
I'm gonna say yes. Well, no.
Best Lighting Design of a Musical.
I'm actually gonna say no.
Best Sound Design of a Musical.
Oh my gosh, you can't ask me to choose.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
So that's the revivals this year.
They're pretty good.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that I feel like the revivals are kind of split into 2 groups. You have shows that were very popular when they originally came out, Les Mis, which is arguably the most popular musical currently, and Cabaret, possibly the most famous revival ever.
Absolutely it is.
And both of those shows are very much like the original productions, and also aren't doing great.
And also, there's the opposite. We have Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and also Violet. Both didn't do very well their first runs, but now that they've come back, they're developing a huge following and people are loving them. Well, that's our second vlog.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Well, thank you for watching 2 kids on a couch.
Because that's us.
On a couch. Tune in next time for what we're going to talk about next time.